Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1941A, and today's date is August 12th, 2019, and the title of the episode is, It Begins, the Central Bank Pushes Fear, Panic Over the Brexit. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about gold. If you've been watching the news lately, you'll have seen the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 launch. Those Saturn V rockets moved, and if you plotted their trajectory on a chart, it might look something like this. Except this isn't an Apollo launch. This is the price of gold since June. Noble Gold has been predicting the gold takeoff since last year. Call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347 and make sure to mention X22 Report to see if there are any promotions they're running for gold IRA rollovers. Call 877-646-5347 or hit the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we know, the entire world is changing. The globalists are losing control. The patriots are gaining control. And we've said in the past that the central bank, the EU, will not stop until they get what they want. Now, we know that Boris Johnson, he is now looking to have a no-deal Brexit in October 31st. We know that the EU is not just going to stand by and say, okay, you know what? No big deal. No deal. We're fine with it. They're going to fight back. Already, we're starting to see information come out that they're beginning their fear porn. And with all of this, they're going to do this and increase the fear propaganda until the very, very end to make it seem like there is no hope in the UK. Now, there was an article that came out that the MPs in the UK, they're going to struggle to block a no-deal Brexit, but it is not going to work. They will not have the ability to stop what is coming. So, since they can't stop what is coming, what happens next? Well, the EU, the central bank, the non-elected leaders, they do what they do best. And it's right on schedule. I mean, we didn't even have to wait that long. October is right around the corner. Here we are in August. We're heading toward the middle of August. And October is the date. Now, they're out there throwing out statistics saying that, okay, if a no-deal Brexit comes, guess what's going to happen? Well, it looks like there's going to be 1.2 million jobs lost across Europe. The UK is going to be hit the hardest. They're also saying that they're getting ready to airlift food and medicine and other supplies into the UK to get prepared for the no-deal Brexit. Now, do you really think everything is just going to go south the next day? Really think about this. Think about what they're saying here. The UK is going to be making free trade deals outside of the EU with so many different countries. Actually, Trump is ready to make a deal once they break free of the EU. He tweeted out, remember back in June, he said the following: London part of a trip is going really well. The Queen and the entire royal family have been fantastic. The relationship with the United Kingdom is very strong. Tremendous crowds of well-wishers and people that love our country. Haven't seen any protests yet, but I'm sure the fake news will be working hard to find them. Great love all around. Also, big trade deal is possible once UK gets rid of the shackles. Already starting to talk. Now, think about this for a second. Think about what Trump just said. We're already starting to talk. Do you really think that the UK is not talking to anyone? Do you really think there are no backroom deals ready to go once the UK breaks free of the EU? Now, I remember going back in time where the EU said, listen, if you have this referendum, the next day, it's going to be awful for the UK. We're going to see riots. We're going to see shortages. We're going to see things. It's going to be awful. Just to let everyone know, And this is right before the vote. And then we had the vote, and we didn't see any of this. This is what the central bankers do. This is what the non-elected leaders do. Remember, they're non-elected. They put themselves in this position. They created this out of thin air and put themselves in this position. They're using this to scare the people of the UK. Now, remember what happens when the UK leaves. Other countries within the EU, they're also going to look at this and say, why are we with the EU? Now, maybe once the UK leaves the EU, they might have to struggle a little bit. But guess what? Everything will turn around. Do I think that they'll have riots, shortages, blackouts? They won't have fuel? No. Things will be a little tough in the beginning. But as the trade deals come online, and once they start trading, the UK is going to prosper. This is what the central bank is worried about. They don't want any country prospering without them. Without the EU in control, and the UK does well, this will spread to other countries. Italy is sitting there waiting to see what happens. Other countries are also waiting. This is a defining moment. This is a point in time where the people are finally going to speak out and tell the central bankers where to go. And it's not just happening out in the UK and throughout Europe. It is happening here in the United States. Remember, the central bank here in the United States, they don't like to be in the spotlight. They like to be hidden in the shadows. Everything was stricken from elementary school, high school, and throughout college. You're really not learning about the Federal Reserve. Many people don't even know what the Federal Reserve is. And this is why Trump was out there since the beginning talking about the Federal Reserve, contradicting the Federal Reserve, putting the spotlight on the Federal Reserve. What you see happening in the UK, Europe, and many other places and here in the United States, it's all being done on purpose to bring attention to these non-elected individuals who control our economic system. They have no allegiance to a people. They have no allegiance to a country. Their allegiance is to themselves. Remember what Q has told us. The Federal Reserve and other central banks around the world, they're above the laws of that country. They sit on private land. The government can't really touch them. Here in the United States, just to have an audit of this private corporation that runs the entire economic system here in the United States, Congress has to pass a bill. It has to pass in the House, in the Senate, and go to the president to allow the people to audit the Fed. Think about that for a second. It was designed purposely this way because the Federal Reserve, the central bank, they knew if they could corrupt many individuals within the House and the Senate, these bills would go nowhere. If they could pay them off, keep them earning tons and tons of currency, make them very wealthy, they would never pass any of these bills. And this has been going on for a very long time. Now things are changing, and they're changing very, very quickly. This is why the patriots are getting everyone ready for what is coming. Remember, it's done in stages. It's almost like the income tax when the central bank came into existence and they said, hey, listen, by the way, we're only going to tax the wealthy. And then a couple of years later, they waited and they said, you know what? Things are getting bad. We're going to have to tax the upper middle class. Wait a couple of years. You know what? We're going to have to tax the middle class. Wait a couple more years. You know what? We're going to have to tax the poor. And if you notice, They do it very, very slowly over a period of time, so nobody catches on. While they're doing this, they're removing all different accounts of the Federal Reserve and how the Founding Fathers never wanted a private Western central bank. They remove this from all the books in school. Never to be found. Yes, you might get a little passage here and there. But they did this on purpose because they didn't want the people to know what the Federal Reserve actually was. Well, it's the same thing. Trump is doing this very, very slowly. Of course, he has to do it at an accelerated rate. We don't have that much time. We don't have years and years and years. So every moment, every couple of months or weeks, he's out there telling the people, well, the Federal Reserve doesn't know what they're doing. If the Federal Reserve would do this, we would be doing a lot better. If the Federal Reserve was doing that, the companies would be doing a lot better. Remember, we're competing with different countries around the world, and if the Federal Reserve did this, we'd be better off. He continually does this on purpose. He's trying to get the people up to speed very, very quickly. Because before you know it, that time is going to be here when he's going to go after the Federal Reserve. And that time is coming very, very quickly. Think about it. We're in 2019, the middle of 2019 right now. Next year is the elections. Once he wins the elections, there's nothing holding him back. There's nothing holding the Patriots back. They're going to be going at an accelerated rate. And it's going to be nothing that we've ever seen before. And everyone's just going to be sitting there going, whoa, look what just happened. And this will continually happen throughout his second term. So get ready, get prepared, because here it comes. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.